any way that we can help, we need to.
New technology is making it easier for first responders to find people who are missing. How it's being used in York County and other departments using it next. And a violent end to a North Carolina police chase spanning 2 counties. What investigators learned when they got the driver into custody.
Queen City News starts now.
That is video of a crash in uptown Charlotte involving Hornet star LaMelo Ball and another driver. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Brian Blakely. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police are investigating this afternoon's crash involving the Hornets guard at the intersection of Trade and Tryon streets in Uptown. A dashcam video was recorded by Lyft driver Michael Musseller. He was dropping off a passenger when Ball's vehicle entered the intersection, trying to turn left onto Trade Street. His Hummer collided with a Kia sedan at the intersection. Seconds later, a CMPD officer walks across the street to begin checking on both drivers. Ball was not injured, but medic personnel say another person suffered life-threatening injuries. Ball had attended practice earlier today, preparing for the Hornets home game tomorrow night against the Houston Rockets at the Spectrum Center. Queen City News reached out to the Hornets front office and CMPD for information, and we'll let you know what they tell us. York County deputies are celebrating the second successful search and rescue using new technology to recover a 5-year-old autistic child who wandered away from home. They used tracking devices from their Project Lifesaver program to find the boy. The devices hone in on radio signals from bracelets worn by children and adults prone to wandering. Neighbors tell South Carolina Bureau Chief Shakira Speaks they're relieved to hear that it is being used close to home.
York County Sheriff's deputies say they found the young boy along South Parham Road in the woods behind a house. And they say without the Project Lifesaver technology, it would have taken a lot longer to find him.
We were able to find him in 21 minutes flat.
Spokesman Trent Ferris says York County deputies put new technology to use Monday to find a missing 5-year-old boy who was reportedly autistic and nonverbal.
He got out and he wandered off, and he'd been gone for a few minutes. They made the call to 911. We got the information.
The family is already enrolled in the technology because of their son's cognitive disability. Ferris says children and adults in the program wear a battery-operated transmitter bracelet with a unique identifying number. It emits a signal deputies can track. Parents or caregivers can call 911 if their loved one wanders away.
We were able to track him through the woods in that area, and he had crossed over a creek. Thankfully, he didn't get hurt. Our deputies got a little muddy crossing over the creek to find him.
Ferris says while the equipment helps, investigators also rely on their top-tier K-9 units to use the tech. In 2025, they helped locate 40 missing people, runaways or suicidal people. The first save in Project Lifesaver was a 5-year-old girl with Down syndrome who'd wandered off. Deputies found her within 7 minutes.
My mother had Alzheimer's, and dementia, and I know a lot of people who are going through this. We need to help any way we can, and this is probably one of the best things we can do.
The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office also received the technology, and they're offering the services for people who live within the city limits for neighbors who want to sign up. For now, reporting in York County, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
Tonight marks 25 years since the death of NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was killed in a last lap crash during the 2001 Daytona 500. Tonight, fans are remembering the 7-time Cup champion. Tonight, the business he built, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, hosted a candlelight tribute to mark the anniversary. Many fans signed a condolence book, and some left flowers and other mementos at the doors to his Mooresville race shop. They also remember the Kannapolis native for what he gave to the community.
He was a blue-collar worker. He was one of us. And I really think to keep the legend of Dale Earnhardt alive and going and to pay those respects, you feel him in the air here. This is what he built. This is his empire for people to be a part of.
Earnhardt was inducted into the inaugural class of NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2010. His children and grandchildren are still involved in racing. York County coroner is releasing the names of a child and a man killed in a Rock Hill shooting. It happened around 7:30 last night at a home on Frank Street. Police found 2 men and the child shot. 4-year-old Jacoby Clifton died at the hospital. 19-year-old Jamarian Kimball died at the scene. Police say Kimball and another man started shooting each other inside the home with a bullet hitting the boy. A 36-year-old suspect, Cedric Creighton, is in the hospital facing murder and gun charges. Wild video at the end of a 2-county police chase resulting in a crash outside a fast food restaurant. This happened just before 3 Monday afternoon on Conley Springs Road in Lenoir. The chase started earlier in the town of Rutherford College in Burke County when deputies spotted a vehicle reported stolen. The driver led them north into the town of Cajas Mountain south of Lenoir, where customers at the Frosty Freeze restaurant witnessed the crash.
Burke County. Somebody's been chased for a while.
Pickup driver lost control of the truck coming to a stop after hitting a utility pole. Deputies arrested the driver. 36-year-old Bradley Mellon of Lawndale is arrested. Burke County authorities say his charges include possession of a stolen vehicle, fleeing to elude, reckless driving, and drug possession. Mellon's also facing charges of assault, car theft, and fleeing out of Cleveland, Catawba, and Lincoln counties, all filed just in the last week. Mellon is in the Burke County Jail on a $200,000 bond. To Washington now, as you look at live at the U.S. Capitol building, even though lawmakers are out of session right now, they are still debating over ICE reform. They are battling over funding for the Homeland Security Department to end the partial government shutdown. Democrats and Republicans are reportedly in good faith negotiations to reach an agreement, but White House officials say the latest counter proposal is, quote, not a serious one. Maddie Beertemple looks at how close or far away they are from a deal.
Democrats say the ball is now in the president's court when it comes to negotiating ICE reforms, but the White House says that Democrats' demands are unserious.
This is day 5 of the Trump Republican shutdown.
Democrats are the reason that the Department of Homeland Security is currently shut down.
Washington is no closer to a deal on funding the Department of Homeland Security. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats won't approve more funding without changes to ICE operations. That includes a ban on masks, mandated judicial warrants, body cameras, and more.
And they remain lines in the sand for us because we're standing up for everyday Americans, for American citizens, and for law-abiding immigrant families who are being violently targeted.
The funding standoff comes after federal agents killed 2 American citizens in Minneapolis last month, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Jeffries says he wants to make a deal, but
we've not seen any high-level effort coming from the president or from the House or Senate Republican leaders.
We've been engaged in good faith negotiations with the Democrats.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Democrats' demands are a non-starter.
Last night they sent over a counter proposal that frankly was very unserious, and we hope they get serious very soon because Americans are going to be impacted by this.
The DHS shutdown is currently impacting the TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard, but ICE remains funded through the Big Beautiful Bill. Reporting in Washington, I'm Maddie Beertemple. Back to you.
As we mentioned earlier, the Hornets will return to action tomorrow night for the first game after the All-Star break. They are looking to capitalize on a strong finish to the first half of the season. Hornets will host the Houston Rockets at the Spectrum Center with tip-off at 7 o'clock. The team is close to 500 right now at 26-29, but 9-1 over the last 10 games. Coming up at 11 on CSL, we sit down with star rookie Con Knipple to talk about his busy All-Star weekend and expectations for the second half of the season. Looking live at Uptown Charlotte from Arlington camera tonight, the breathtaking lights of the skyline. Those very lights will be the focus of an announcement tomorrow. Duke Energy executives will join Charlotte leaders to discuss the Tryon Street Refresh Project. The plans include new uptown lighting. We'll have details from the announcement tomorrow on Queen City News. Tara?
All right, looking forward to that. And here tonight, we are tracking a couple sprinkles, a couple of light showers more north of Charlotte so far. Coming up after the break, I'll show you just where we could be seeing maybe a little more rain come early tomorrow morning if you're headed out. And even despite the return of these rain chances, we're talking about near record warmth for the rest of the week. Pinpoint weather forecast is next.
I think personally, we're going to be using this a lot more. I think once we get used to it.
An eye in the sky in Mooresville, how police believe the new drone technology can be an asset to the force. And in our next half hour, a potential life-saving delivery, why one North Carolina family has a DoorDash driver to thank more than dinner.
We got a whole lot coming your way at 11 o'clock on Carolina Sports Live. The latest on the ongoing investigation involving Hornet star LaMelo Ball after he was involved in a car crash earlier today in Uptown. Plus, a special one-on-one with Hornets rookie Con Knippel as he gets ready for the back half of the season. As the Hornets turn to action tomorrow night against the Rockets, plus a full slate of college basketball as well. That and more tonight at 11 o'clock right here on CSL.
Sounds good, Gabe. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Mooresville police are using what they call game-changing technology. Queen City News reporter David Schumann explains how officers are using drones to respond to calls.
A police drone can now be anywhere in Mooresville within a minute and a half. The town has 6 of them that travel up to 55 miles per hour when weather allows.
I think personally, we're going to be using this a lot more than we think. I think once we get used to it.
Tracking fleeing suspects and missing persons, overseeing traffic crashes and crime scenes. These are all uses Chief Ron Camperciani envisions for his drone fleet.
We have a list of calls, high priority calls that we're going to use, but it could be anything based on the situation.
Queen City News first reported on Mooresville's police drones in October, but they weren't in use yet, 7 months after the town paid more than $320,000 for them. A public online dashboard that logs every flight shows the first calls with a drone response were a traffic stop in December, then a report of a suspicious person less than an hour later. Since then, the drones have responded to 75 calls.
Is this what we want our future to look like? Do we want like buzzing police video cameras crisscrossing our skies?
Jay Stanley and the ACLU have tracked the increasing use of police drones for years. He says they can be abused, so boundaries are essential.
Police technologies can be misused against individuals. For example, an officer investigating their ex-wife's new boyfriend, or for political purposes, because law enforcement is investigating people because it doesn't like their political views.
People have that concern that, you know, drones are going to be flying over their house, are going to be watching people swim in their swimming pools or whatever else they think we're going to do with these things. That's not the case.
Camperciani believes drones will eventually be part of every call, being flown all the time. They're expected to cost the town $300,000 annually. In Mooresville, David Schumann, Queen City News.
Virginia high school students held another day of walkouts today to protest ICE activity across the country. It's part of a string of demonstrations teenagers are holding over immigration enforcement efforts. One student says he and classmates decided to participate in the nationwide movement.
More and more students were finding out about it, and when it came to Booker T, the principal, Mr. Mason, we have a great principal, by the way. Mr. Mason, he told me that it would be very facilitated and very calm and organized, and it was.
Protesters are seeking changes in how federal agents enforce immigration laws. 8 skiers and another are missing right now after an avalanche in California Sierra Nevada mountains. It comes as a powerful storm hits the West Coast. Marvin Scott reports on the search hampered by the elements.
The avalanche roared down the mountain near Lake Tahoe yesterday afternoon, trapping a group of 15 backcountry skiers beneath a torrent of snow. Search and rescue teams battled treacherous weather conditions to reach the skiers, rescuing 6 of them. The others were lost.
8 have been found at the location so far due to the terrain. It's vertical in nature. They were only able to remove the individuals that had survived.
A 9th skier was still missing. Weather conditions were reported to be so severe it was hampering rescue teams' efforts to get to the site. The avalanche occurred as a massive storm pelted the area.
What we do understand is that it was about a football field in length. It resulted when a persistent weak layer had a large load of snow over the top of it.
The group was on the last of a 3-day trek through California Sierra Nevada when the avalanche occurred. The area sees an average of 35 feet of snow a year. For the rescuers, this mission was emotional.
This incident has specifically struck our organization and that team hard, as one of the 9 missing decedents is a spouse of one of our Tahoe Nordic search and rescue team members.
So the weather for us here in the Carolinas, live look at downtown Gastonia tonight. The warm weather continues and we may get some 70-degree days. Let's talk to Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane right now. And Tara, we could see some record temperatures later this week.
Yeah, so the record high tomorrow, 76, will be coming closer to that. Friday, I'm thinking we may tie the record, 77. Not far from 80 degrees. Think about that.
Good way to end the work week, right?
Yeah, but you know, what goes up must come down, and we're going to be going down the temperature roller coaster hill by this time next week. So we have much chillier temperatures to talk about in that 7-day forecast as well. And even maybe where we're looking live right now up in Banner Elk in the higher elevation, some snow to wrap up the weekend and heading into early next week. So we'll talk all about it. We do have an increase in moisture happening tonight, and we've seen that all throughout the day today with the extra cloudiness and blocking out some of that sunshine, but not preventing temperatures from warming back through the high 60s. There's been a little spotty rain. You can see some of those light scattered showers showing up to our north and west, and even near the I-40 corridor. A little bit of a closer look as we scan around on radar here tonight. Maybe a couple sprinkles near Statesville and that portion of Iredell County and skimming along that far northern stretch of Rowan County, but just not much out there, just mainly on the lighter side. And you can see just a few more spotty light showers trickling through parts of Tennessee and Kentucky. So we could see a little more of this coming in, especially in the mountains into the wee hours of tomorrow morning. So for the morning drive time into work and even around parts of the Charlotte metro, a little bit of spotty light rain just can't be totally ruled out, but most of you will stay dry into tomorrow, Thursday afternoon. So definitely not looking at anything widespread here, but you may need to grab the umbrella or the rain jacket if you're headed out early tomorrow. But notice temperatures, look at this, 57 degrees. That's about where we should be for late afternoon highs this time of the year, 57 to be exact, the average high. So that's for a low in the morning. So you know we have another nice warm up on the way for tomorrow, 54. That was as much as we cooled down this morning after that high, before that high of 68 degrees this afternoon. And still, many of us, most of us, sitting around the lower 60s here. Concord and Salisbury both at 61. We've got 63 out there in Cheraw after you all did top out in the low 70s earlier. Chester, South Carolina down to 59. We've got the low 60s still in place here in this 10 o'clock hour in February up in the foothills, and low 50s, not too bad up in the higher elevation. So near record warmth coming up. As I said, I told Brian record high tomorrow, 76 degrees. I'm going with about 73. Lots of cloudiness around. We'll see some breaks of sunshine. It looks like a little bit later in the day. And notice on Futurecast, you can see how the best chance of more of the widespread showers, heavy at times even, will continue to be across the state line, Virginia border there, northern tier of the state. Just a little bit of spotty, isolated pockets of rain out there into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, a possibility. And then we pick up on some clearing briefly before the clouds roll back in early on Friday morning. Friday, the best chance of showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm with this line here coming through. That's going to start in the mountains, but we could see a quick round, a little skinny line of some heavier showers with some gusty wind and again, maybe some rumbles of thunder rolling through late morning into early afternoon. Then it's quickly back to sunshine. So that's going to help boost those temperatures even more. 77 degrees. That would tie the record of 77 back in 2014. Now the rain chances continue as we head into the weekend. Saturday with the warm front here kind of draped along the South Carolina, North Carolina line. Best chance of showers maybe more to the south, but still I'm holding on to the chance of some scattered rain out there into Saturday. It looks like the best chance may not come until overnight and heading into Sunday morning. So it could be a wet start to Sunday. And look at this, signs of that colder air wrapping in, leading to some high elevation mountain snow by Sunday night, early Monday. So after several more days, few more days with highs in the 60s or 70s, we start to come down much cooler. 54 on Sunday. It's going to be a struggle to break out of the 40s on Monday with that low of 27 Tuesday morning.
Ouch. Tara, thanks. An alarming increase in gas bills for a South Carolina town. Why some customers say they were caught off guard. And uprisings in Iran are hitting close to home for one North Carolina woman. What she's saying about chaos in her homeland. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte.
does it really take to build generational wealth?
And why do so many families, especially families of color, start at a disadvantage?
For our Queen City News Black History Month special, we hold a powerful conversation right here in the heart of Charlotte, looking at the history, the data, and the path forward.
By bringing together leaders and experts in our community right here in the Queen City.
Generational wealth, the conversation on Queen City News.
People in Union, South Carolina say they're not sure how to make ends meet after big hikes in their gas bills. Ripley Simone spoke with customers who say they didn't see the price spike coming.
Residents in the city of Union tell me that this notice of a 50% increase in their gas bill came as a total surprise. Danielle Masters says she checked the mail on Monday and was shocked to see a massive increase in her gas bill, despite no notice that it was increasing.
I called the city Monday, and they really had no answers other than they did not account for the fact that we were going to use more gas than we should have. So they didn't actually get the gas prior to the people they get gas from.
Masters says her bill nearly doubled from its usual $433 to $764.
There was no talk of refunds, nothing. They just said it is what it is, and that hopefully next month our bills go down because it won't be as cold. Maybe.
Other city residents shared their bills with me and saw similar increases as well.
For that gas part to be so high was insane. So then when I saw on Facebook what they were saying about it, what their so-called reasoning was for it, it didn't make any sense. They had no reason to do that.
Carrie Adams learned about the gas increases through Facebook, and like many others, questions whether this price hike counts as price gouging.
I'm very curious how they say that it's not price gouging because fuel is listed on one of those things that can't be increased as a result of a federal disaster. I did go online myself and make a report about it, just on the off chance that they will investigate and side with us, but I don't expect them to because that's just not our luck here in Union.
Adams only uses gas to heat her home and stove, but she still saw a jump from $562 to $891. For residents that are impacted by the increase, the city is giving them two options. One, arrange a payment plan to spread the balance from their February bill over 3 months, where customers must pay a fee while keeping their current bill up to date. Or two, inquire about energy assistance resources that may help with utility payments.
Lawmakers are considering a move to veto a long-standing presidential power, the bipartisan push to counter presidential pardons. And confusion for South Carolina taxpayers why the state isn't going along with new rules. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are discussing a measure to give themselves veto power over presidential pardons. Margaret Chadbourne tells us about the proposed amendment and its bipartisan backing.
Former NFL players, reality TV stars, January 6 rioters, and politicians. President Trump has granted clemency or issued pardons more than 1,600 times since the start of his second term. Sometimes his decisions surprise even members of his own party and receive backlash from Democrats.
It really feels like a perversion of what was meant to be a tool of justice and mercy. Instead, we're seeing those who are wealthy and well-connected get these pardons.
Congressman Johnny Olszewski, a Democrat from Maryland, is leading an effort to enact a constitutional amendment that would give Congress the right to review presidential pardons.
It's a very high bar for overturning pardons.
The amendment would create a process where 20 House members and 5 senators could force a vote on nullifying a presidential pardon, which would then need a 2/3 majority vote in both chambers within 60 days.
This doesn't end pardons. This just gives Congress the ability to review them and to overturn them if they're especially egregious.
Although the Pardon Integrity Act has yet to gain traction in Congress, Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska, who is set to retire at the end of his current term, recently signed on as a Republican co-sponsor.
I think that having this be a bipartisan measure, especially in this polarized political environment, is critical.
President Trump's critics say he's issuing pardons to those who want access. The Trump team says the president is helping those who have been prosecuted for political reasons, and all pardons go through White House lawyers.
The president is exercising his constitutional authority to grant clemency requests, and the president and the White House have a very thorough examination of every pardon request that comes to the president's desk.
In order to pass, a constitutional amendment requires 2/3 majorities in both chambers, and it must be ratified by 38 states, making this effort a long shot. In Washington, Margaret Chadbourne.
South Carolina lawmakers are considering a bill to change the way students are graded. Supporters say the goal is to restore accountability and make sure that grade point averages are not artificially inflated. They argue the current grade system makes it impossible to know what a student has actually learned. The measure would punish school districts that violate the law with a 10% cut in state funding, but opponents say some school districts may not have the capacity to meet the new requirements.
That's giving them hope that, okay, I got a 50, so they're thinking like they're close to passing, but if, they're not if they actually never, made the grades to actually get a 50.
Some teachers say while they agree with the system changes, they don't want it to come at the expense of school funding.
I realized, oh my gosh, she really is an angel. She saved my whole family.
That is a message from a grateful North Carolina woman who has a DoorDash driver to thank for quick thinking that may have saved her family's lives. Justin Moore talked with the family, who says they want to find the driver and show their gratitude.
It was a calm Monday night on Ballantyne Street as the Drogos family was upstairs waiting on dessert. Doorbell camera video shows a driver with DoorDash dropping off ice cream at the front door. But look closely. Smoke is already pouring out of the side of the house.
My daughter-in-law goes out there to get the ice cream, and the DoorDasher was yelling at her and saying, "Your house is on fire, your house is on fire."
Flames were burning between the garage and the front door, melting insulation and scorching the siding.
So my children came in the house and notified me.
At first, Ming Drogo says she didn't believe it.
I didn't think it was my house, so the first thing I said was, "Whose house is it?" And they said it was ours. So I'm like, okay, so I just took off running.
The delivery driver, who goes by the name Haley on the app, didn't just sound the alarm. She called 911 before leaving. In the chaos, Drogo says there was no time for gratitude.
I did say thank you, but I was so worried about the house, about the water, I didn't really get a chance to thank her.
The family is grateful and hoping for the chance to say two simple but powerful words. Thank you.
We were open upstairs, and the fire would have took place at the bottom of the stairwell. So if the fire came into the house, that we weren't able to get out.
She says the outcome could have been much worse if that DoorDash angel didn't show up.
She protected us. She really did. God put her here for a reason, and have her deliver to my house for a reason, and for her to look over and in her heart decide to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help this family. So I want to thank her for saving my family.
Investigators are looking into the cause of a fire that swept through boats in Little River, South Carolina. It happened around 8:30 this morning. The owner of a waterfront restaurant says he called 911 after seeing one of the boats go up in flames. Casey Kuzmic says he heard the sound of the glass on the boats cracking.
I was wondering where somebody was. I didn't know where the boat owner was. I didn't know where anybody was or what to do. It was big. There's fuel lines down here. I mean, it's a marina, so that's my number one concern is, making sure that it didn't get over here and do anything to our business.
Fire damaged the boats. The Coast Guard is leading the investigation. An Ohio man is facing charges after crashing his Volkswagen Jetta into someone's home. Officers found the driver at the scene. He also viewed surveillance video that shows the Jetta weaving down a street, going through the intersection and ramming into a home. Investigators say it appears alcohol was involved in the crash.
The car could have done more damage and struck somebody in that house, and so we're glad that didn't happen. But please find someone sober to drive. Call an Uber, a taxi, something. It's just not worth it to be driving drunk.
Police say the collision damaged the home's water system and bathroom, but no one was seriously hurt. The driver is charged with operating a vehicle under the influence and failure to control. Tax return confusion. Some people in South Carolina say they're at a loss after learning the state isn't conforming to new federal tax policy. As Diane Lee reports tonight, some taxpayers are wondering if they should hold off on filing their returns.
We stop? Do we go forward?
Marjorie Hawley and her husband Tim have been doing their own taxes for decades and never expected this. A TurboTax notice saying, quote, South Carolina has not conformed to recent federal law known as the One Big Beautiful Bill. It goes on to say, if the state ends up conforming, you will need to amend your return to get the full deductions.
What am I doing? Should I? Shouldn't I? Let's just exit out and start asking questions.
This South Carolina Department of Revenue notice listing the 8 new federal deductions that won't apply to your state taxes. So everything from the increased standard deduction to the $6,000 senior deduction and no tax on tips and overtime must be added back to your income when you file your state return.
If and when the South Carolina legislature votes on conformity, lawmakers will have to consider the cost. Analysis from the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office found the state would lose nearly $279 million for the 2025 tax year alone.
Chandra Dillard, who has represented Greenville for 18 years, admits normally the state does vote to conform, but this year it's unlikely.
So should people wait and see, maybe hold off on filing?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is that we're in a process right now, and in this part of the process, we are saying, no, we can't afford that.
Do I go forward? Do I go backwards?
Skeptical as to whether South Carolina lawmakers will vote in time, the Hawleys decided to file their state return.
South Carolina has had our money all year, and we want it now. Period.
Diane Lee reporting other states like Georgia are joining South Carolina and taking a wait-and-see approach to changing their policies. But in North Carolina, most tax programs are conforming with federal tax law, even though the state hasn't approved the legislation. South Carolina says if lawmakers vote to conform, they will send out letters to impacted taxpayers. North Carolina woman who spent much of last year without any heating or cooling in her home is seeing that change come through some community kindness. Dawn Stroud suffered a heart attack last spring. Then she was laid off from her job. Once her HVAC system went out, she didn't have the money to replace it. And that's when heating technicians learned about her story and asked their employer to help her out.
I was just very, very excited. I really kind of couldn't believe it. I was like, and then I was like, well, maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they'll change their mind, because you don't think that it's going to happen to you until it does. And it's like, oh, wow, there are people that care.
The only form of payments that heating company is asking from Stroud is for her to pay it forward. A civilian uprising all the way across the world is hitting home for one woman in North Carolina's Piedmont. Shireen Gentry grew up in North Carolina but was born in Iran. As Bob Buckley reports tonight, what's happening in that country is hitting her in a way she can't shake.
A quarter millennium after the rebellion that created her country,
Shireen Gentry is captivated by another one on the other side of the world.
Iran's foreign minister had a positive characterization of today's talks with U.S. officials.
I'm interested for obvious reasons.
Those reasons go back more than 60 years.
This, I believe to be the earliest photo of me.
Shireen first told us her story in 2018.
I was born in Tehran, October 11th, 1962. But interestingly enough, I do not have a birth certificate.
The story of how she was quietly adopted by Americans stationed in Iran and spent the first 2 years of her life there, which included time with people known to be the Shah's children.
Despite an outward display of unity, there was no love lost between the members of the royal family, who were not all children of the same mother.
Gifts of what appeared to be Pahlavi family jewelry and late-night calls from the royal palace to see how her life had turned out are still not enough to prove that she too is the daughter of Raza Pahlavi, the last Shah of Iran.
No, it's all circumstantial. I did do a DNA test for myself, which revealed that I was 99.3% Persian.
So when the bells of revolution began ringing,
there are new threats from the Iranian government this morning against protesters.
Shireen was captivated. When you see what's going on in the news over there, what goes through your mind?
Well, it's very surprising, for one thing. I can recall being a freshman in college, sitting on my dorm floor watching the American hostages being released in January of '81. So to fast forward almost 5 decades and now to see a potential shift is pretty remarkable.
It could mean the return of the man who may well be her half-brother. You see the Crown Prince on television.
I have.
The so-called Islamic Republic is not the government of Iran.
I'm impressed with him. He's very well spoken. He is resolute. He is living with purpose and meaning. And I've heard him say multiple times that he's ready to go back to be a transitional leader.
But there remains so much for the young revolutionaries in Iran to do. How do you think all this ends?
Well, I think we're all asking that question. Because up to this point, the protests have not been to this scale or to this magnitude. The millennials in Iran, which I find fascinating, they're the ones willing to die for a change.
Fighting against the only system they've ever known in their lives.
After another warmer than normal day today, those highs up around 70. We're getting even warmer for the rest of the week, talking near record warmth, but the return of some rain chances too. It's all next in my Pinpoint Weather Forecast.
It is an electric atmosphere that dates back decades. We're going to take you to Johnson C. Smith University for the secret behind Bray Boy madness. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte.
Queen City News honors Black History Month. Charleston, South Carolina's Darius Rucker was the first African American to reach the top of the country music chart since Charlie Pride in 1983. The Grammy Award-winning artist first gained fame as lead vocalist for Hootie and the Blowfish.
Queen City News celebrates Black History Month. Without question, North Carolina is basketball state. From the Hornets all the way down to Tobacco Road, we have heard all the history, or so we thought. It turns out there was more to uncover. As Mike Lissette reports, it all happened in the Queen City.
There is a lot of chaos that happens at a Johnson C. Smith basketball game.
The cheerleaders cheering, the dancing girls dancing, the football team in the stands.
Basically, it gets real loud.
When students are here and they're engaged, it's electric.
Or to be more accurate,
it's Ray Boy madness.
That's how it's been known since the 1980s. The term coincided with the sudden resurgence of the Golden Bulls men's team. Sports Illustrated took note, calling their home one of the loudest places to play in the country.
We were playing great basketball during those times, and we thought it was well deserved.
The secret was out on JCSU, a program that at one point had become a hidden hotbed for basketball players in the Carolinas.
You know, for a lot of black players, they went to, HBCUs, black schools, because they weren't being recruited, in the early 60s and so forth.
Ultimately, a lot of greats ended up coming here, like Curly Neal, class of 1963.
You would watch him perform with the Globetrotters, and you say, okay, that's the Smith guy.
Then there's the case of the two Earls. The first was a short-timer, not to mention one of the game's greatest what-ifs, having never played in the NBA.
Came to school in 1965. One of my classmates was Earl Manigault. Okay, playground legend, New York. Earl played that one season, and, he said, forget this, he was gone.
While the other Earl played against JCSU as a member of Winston-Salem State, and would later become one of the sport's all-time legends.
Earl Monroe was a big-time draw. I mean, everybody, in the city wanted to be at the game.
Much like they still do today. Granted, times have changed, but the atmosphere at JCSU has not.
Each time you walk in, it's like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is where I need to be.
It's Brave Boy madness, all right.
It's amazing for me.
And it's still as strong as ever.
To the weather now, as we take a live look at downtown Blowing Rock tonight. Few showers could be moving in overnight, but nothing major. Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane here, as we are looking for some record warmth over the next few days. But what about the weekend, though?
The weekend going to involve some rain. Saturday going into Sunday, best rain chance here at this point. But, and speaking of the mountains, that live picture we were looking at could wrap up with a little bit of snow. So that means it's going to get colder.
Wow. Okay, snow.
I know,
record warmth to snow.
Record warmth to snow. There we go. Snow just in the mountains. Now, it is possible that areas around the northern tier of the state and out toward portions of eastern North Carolina could actually end the weekend, maybe going into early Monday with a little bit of snow too, but not expecting that around here at this point. Looking live over downtown Monroe, we're still on the dry side, but we do have some clouds. This has been the theme all day today. Definitely more clouds than sun today, and we'll kind of still continue to see quite a bit of cloud cover out there tomorrow with some breaks or peaks of sunshine a little bit later in the day. But a lot of clouds, not much rain, just some scattered showers here and there, mainly to our north and west for now. We have seen a little bit of light rain, and you can see some of that green showing up, crossing over parts of Randolph County, heading up to Guilford County there, Davidson County, around the Triad, maybe a couple sprinkles for you all there around Hickory and Catawba County. Obviously nothing much, and seeing just a little more of that points west and up toward the mountains, but there's just not much out there. Certainly nothing too heavy, but it is still possible. And even around the Charlotte Metro, notice on Futurecast here, we take it out over the next several hours and come early tomorrow morning, some little minor splashes of green there that we could see a couple sprinkles or maybe a passing light shower, not only in the mountains, but down through parts of the Charlotte Metro as well. Let's talk temperatures tonight, because you can see that 62 degrees. That's not a typo. Still is what we're feeling outside of our studios. And temperature change overall, we're running about 5 to even as much as 15 degrees warmer compared to 24 hours ago. After hitting 68 earlier, we have not cooled down much. That's due in part to the fact, too, that we have the clouds trapping in some of the daytime heating and acting as a blanket up there in the atmosphere. Southwest wind, still a little bit of breeze at times at about 10 miles per hour. And it will be a little gusty, kind of like it was earlier today, come tomorrow afternoon. Those wind gusts around 20, 25 or so miles per hour. Upper 50s to lower 60s, the main temperature theme. We've got the lower 50s up in the higher elevations. Back in the warm zone, as we've been talking about for tomorrow, not only here, look at all the orange, but in place across much of the eastern half of the country, above normal temperatures, getting into record territory. The record is 76 for tomorrow. 73 degrees is what I'm forecasting. And again, could run into maybe a passing light shower or two, but most of you will stay dry. And you can see that on Futurecast. We take it out now into the afternoon. Not too much out there. A couple little spotty, light isolated showers. We'll see some brief clearing before we get another round of some slightly more widespread showers coming in for Friday morning. Mountains and foothills first, and we could see kind of a thin band of some heavier rain, maybe an isolated thunderstorm too. Some rumbles can't be ruled out late morning and into the early afternoon on Friday, but that's in and out pretty quick. Increasing sunshine later on Friday before the clouds start to move in again for the weekend. Friday, not far from 80 degrees for a temperature. How about that? So increasing rain chances through the weekend, Monday into Tuesday, back on the drier side, but it will be much colder. So check out that mountain forecast for you all. Still around 60 the next couple of days. We're in the 50s on Saturday. Snow will be possible by late Sunday and into early Monday morning as temperatures plunge. Look at that, 29 for a high on Monday for you all, with a low of 19 in the morning. But this is what you're going to be waking up to tomorrow morning. Not all that chilly at all. These are around where we should be for afternoon highs this time of the year. So we start in the 50s to near 60, 73 tomorrow afternoon. There's that 77 on Friday. Much cooler. Look at Monday's high, only 47.
Sarah, thanks. An unusual find at a Kentucky car dealership. Why wildlife experts say a quick check under the hood can make all the difference. Hey, Gabe's here, talking with coming up on Carolina Sports Live at 11. Hornets, hottest team in the NBA right now.
Yeah, absolutely, all over the headlines when you think about LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple, a special one-on-one coming up with him in just a little bit, and getting ready to return from the All-Star break with a big matchup against Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets, the same team that they beat a couple of weeks ago, plus a full slate of college hoops as well, and a whole lot more coming your way in about 8 minutes right here on Carolina Sports Live.
You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back. A routine repair became a life-saving rescue in Lexington, Kentucky. Employees at a Mazda dealership found 3 baby squirrels under the hood of a car in for service. The squirrels were just 2 weeks old. Their mother was nowhere to be found. Employees called a wildlife rehabilitation center right away for help. Rescue Director Amanda Moore says this is peak season for young wildlife, turning up in unusual places like under the hood of a car. They say people who have vehicles that have been sitting for a while should do a quick check under the hood.
A squirrel can make a nest anywhere. She likes to get it up off the ground in little cubbies, especially an engine. We get a lot of calls about them being in engines, for sure. Any place that's kind of tucked away where a squirrel can feel safe with her babies, she's going to build a nest there.
Baby squirrels are receiving care at a Kentucky Animal Rescue facility. And congrats are in order for CMPD K-9 rookie Ozzy, who just had his first week on the job and already 2 major busts under his collar. Ozzy has been hard at work at keeping the halls of the airport safe after finishing training and certification. CMPD officials say this proves his nose and dedication are already making a real impact. Way to go, Ozzy. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back with a final check of your pinpoint forecast, followed by Carolina Sports Live.
We are not cooling down much tonight at all. About 57 degrees early in the morning. There could be some spotty showers out there, but really most of you will squeeze out a dry afternoon. Slightly better chance of some showers Friday morning into the afternoon. But look at the near record warm highs there. 77. We could tie that record for Friday. But getting cooler by the end of the weekend. We get those higher weekend rain chances too, late Saturday into Sunday especially. And that could wrap up with some mountain snow. Just a sign of the times that it is going to be feeling more like winter again by this time next week.
Roller coaster weather. A lot of kids are going to be wearing shorts for the next few days, right?
Definitely.
All right. Thanks for watching here on Queen City News at 10 tonight. Stay right there. We got CSL coming up next with Gabe and Casey.
Thank you.